Hi, it's Hazel. Welcome to my channel, Hazel and Aka Design. I am thrilled to be here today to show you the final flip through of the journal that I created for a journal swap with Brenda Clark, aka The Simple Crafter. Now, obviously, this video and the prior one that I had done, kind of a process video, I guess, will both air before she or no sorry, after she we do the physical swap. As I was gathering my thoughts before turning on the camera, it occurred to me that I think I'm becoming a journal swap believer. I think there's a lot of positives and a lot to be said about doing it. I had proposed the idea to Brenda, not really knowing, whatever, how this would go. But I'm thrilled. And I think in our case, because we're close enough that we can physically meet and do the physical swap, number one, it provides an excuse for getting together again, which is a good thing. But I think it also, the benefit to me, the creator, and hopefully to her as well, I guess she can speak to her own thoughts about the process. But the benefit to me has been working in a theme, using colors and materials that I might not automatically jump to. I think we all kind of, and as much as I'm aware of it, and try to avoid it, I think I still do probably what most of us do, which is gravitate to our to the familiar, to our comfort level, to stick with what we maybe know best. So I will get to this. I will also say that another observation I made about myself is that if I have a box or a bag going with items that I'm putting into periodically, boy, that's a butchered up sentence if I ever saw one. Okay, if I have a box or a bag or envelope or something that I'm putting items into periodically in anticipation of sending them as a Happy Mail parcel or envelope or whatever, I keep putting items in. If I have a journal, whether it's this one for this swap or one that will ultimately end up for sale, I keep adding elements to it. And that, I'm not adding a value judgment to that. It's probably not good or bad, or it just is. And case in point, I added these praying hands just moments before turning on the camera. Brenda is very open about her beliefs and the fact that she's a Christian. She will offer, those sorts of sentiments in her comments and in her videos. And this is something, it's plastic, it's hollow. I must have pried it off a plaque or something, and it's been kicking around on my desk. And it's one of those things, like it's a one-off. Where do you have a section for praying hands? Probably not. So doesn't it make sense to put it into a project that is going to hopefully please someone else, and in the process, get it off your desk? So that was the rationale there. Okay, so I said that I had done, a while back, I had done a video showing kind of what I was doing. I have no recollection of what what I showed or what I said in that video. So if there's repetition, I apologize in advance. You may know that on the way to meeting Brenda, I think that was in May, if I'm not mistaken, I stopped at a thrift store and actually bought 4 of these books. And I've shown them in the past. They were a very unique color, a really deep not so, well, maybe, I don't know, a cross between teal and sapphire maybe. And, you know, an intricate border around. And I really thought, oh, this will be so much fun to work with this cover. And then I realized it doesn't really fit with what she has expressed as being the thing she loves. So I covered it with just plain old brown paper. You can see that I had crinkled it. I sprayed some Distress Oxide on it after the fact. I should have probably done it before, but I guess it's okay. You know, little speckles have ended up on the actual, journal topper. We had decided on 3 signatures. Brenda loves gator mouth, so she's getting a gator mouth. The only thing that's holding this thing somewhat together is this tie. Now, I don't know if you saw the video where I had a roll of, I think this is like a bandage, like gauze for wrapping stuff up. And rather than unroll it, all I had done was put it into a container, a cup or something, with a coffee mixture in it. And of course, like a wick, it sucked up the color. So I just spooled off a bunch of it to use as a tie. You can see that in some places, this might have been the bottom of the roll where the color, where it would have been more intense. But I hope you've picked up on the fact that Brenda said that the first color she mentioned was red, and she likes grunge and vintage. So I have tried to deliver on that. You can see underneath this doily bit, the strings that I had used to sew it together. And frankly, putting that doily segment really wasn't on my radar. However, the downside of using a book cover is that it's not going to stretch. If anything, it's going to break. So I had my paper, my brown paper cover here, a crack appeared. So I had to cover that up. Obviously, the doily does add something to it, I think. But, note to self, if you tend to make gigantic journals that get bigger and bigger and bigger, make sure that your spine has the integrity to hold it all together. Maybe you're better off doing a style like using a shopping bag that has a rounded spine that can sort of flex and grow with the journal. So this is kind of what it sits like when it's not being bound together. Okay, so thrifted fabric, and again, we don't want this video probably to last for 3 days, so maybe I'll spare you some of the details. I did deliberately kind of grunge up some of these papers, turn them back, ink them. Oh, I did more inking in this than I normally, well, I typically don't ink. Use some cheesecloth. This is a vintage photo out of a 1950s flower or gardening book. I used an old bingo card and I sort of roughed it up a bit to make it look more grungy. These flowers you may be recognizing from my thrift haul in Manitoba. And back to this photo, I just kind of scratched it up a bit with an emery board, I guess, just to make it look a little less pristine. Okay, let's get into this one. Okay, so I thought that these, and my inside cover was just sort of a drop sheet that had been on my desk. I've got this heavy duty, and this will help hold the book together, this heavy duty upholstery fabric, that, you know, again, is really tough. I have my About This Journal thing here, a book plate, and a little tiny little booklet that I put together. Brenda, if in case you don't know her, loves mushrooms, so you'll see a proliferation of mushrooms. And you should check out her channel, and you should subscribe if you haven't already done so. So just a wee bit of collage using scraps and so on. Now, I had a ticket roll like this. I like the color combination. It seemed to work well. So all I did was glue it down to create this pocket. However, because of the perforations, I found that it was starting to tear there. So I just added a bunch of bees for Brenda. I don't know if that's the most beautiful solution I could have come up with, but it's what I did, and it does tend to personalize it again. What the heck was this? Oh, this is an envelope that I decorated with some, I think it's Tim Holtz tissue. I have some of these. I added a tag. Oh, and another thing you'll see repeating in here are these vintage dresses. They came out of an old magazine that I have, and again, I was hoarding them, but why? But why? So I figured, you know, let's because one by itself is going to look weird. So let's use all of them. This really unusual paper here was sort of my first attempt at eco-dyeing. I think I would have done that last year probably. And so you'll see that repeating. Just use some seam binding here. No, that's ribbon. No seam binding, whatever. To create that effect on the edge of that pocket. Put in some elements there that were kind of cute. I had a bunch of stickers that, again, were sort of that old-timey theme. Coffee dyed paper. This is the end of sort of an embroidered scalloped edge of a linen of some sort. I used it because it was red. I had this black feather again, who knows where it came from, that was on my desk. I stapled it in a couple of places just because I thought that was kind of cool, and also glued it down. I had some of these book page, I don't know if this was a master board or what the heck it was, but anyway, you know, grungy, throw on some mushrooms, and you've got a tag that I think will please her. Okay, blank piece of paper. This was a sleeve from a 78 record. Now, I talked about this before. I sort of, okay, in this case, what have I got here? I've got both a top load. I folded it in such a way that I didn't waste any of it. I have a top loading pocket and also a side loading pocket. And there's some fragility to this, so I've reinforced or delineated edges by washi tape and paper. And this is just, you know, one of those art cards. And it made the cut because it's red. Here's more of that paper. There's just some vintage dictionary pages stuffed in there. Just a bit of washi tape. I find that I have a bunch of rolls of washi tape that are sort of on the grungier side, but I never really use them. So this was a chance to use them. I'm not quite sure what this was, but it fits. I just included this. What does that say? Boyd's collection. Now, I don't know. I guess it's, maybe it was intended for scrapbooking or something. And then this is a really cute, in fact, I have them right here, Bluff Cunning Concoction Bluff Trivia. So it's got all these die cuts of these bottles with a question and an answer. So there was this one that asked about, had a question about the Bible, so that's why I'm including that one. I've tried to include some actual vintage ephemera, in this case, a tea card here. This is from an old ledger. That's just a price tag from a thrift store. This was out of a book of some sort, and this was all white, so I just did some inking, well, some stenciling with my Punchinella. Okay, what have we got on this side? Just a big tag. I glued down this ad from an old magazine to the back of the tag so that even if there's nothing in it, it still has some interest to it. Sticker, little fabric tab. Again, I had this red tag and just did some collaging and a bit of stamping on there. I used this wallpaper border because to me it kind of looks a bit grungy. It kind of is vintagey. We know that this country twig look was probably what, the 90s maybe? I've been buying and deconstructing a lot of jewelry. Now, I should have looked for a magnifying glass. I cannot read what that says, but that to me looks like a holy, like an icon type figure on there. So, and there's a cross on that side. So I've included that as a charm here. This is a belly band. Oh, and I don't have anything in there. Well, Brenda, you have to make your own thing to put in there. I love this coffee stains stencil that I got recently, so I tried that out there. This is the other half of that ledger page. I glued this down as a place to journal. Used a couple of these old bread coupons as a tab. This is an altered paper clip, and I had just added, a couple more stickers to it to kind of make it fit with the theme. That's the back side of it. This is an old coffee filter, and I hand sewed, I just did sort of a whip stitch around the edges. Thought it would help reinforce it, and then just did some rough stitching down the middle to create these two pockets. This is these little, you'll see this shape reappear. I'm sorry I don't remember whose digital that was, but I love the shape of them, and it kind of reminds me almost of a stained glass kind of effect. Love these fibers as well. Here's another vintage, whatchamacallit? Are these... where did this come from? Brook Bond. So this would have come out of tea or something. This is a tag that I had done. I used one of the girls on there, and well, it's self-explanatory what that is. So there's a pocket, a bigger pocket at the back here, and these two pockets created by the coffee filter. This is the other half of that record sleeve. Just kind of put that together. The other pocket up at the top is just got some wonky stitching. And here's room to write. This is not a tuck spot. It's just a cluster that I thought looked good together. Worked in some red there. This paper, it was very interesting. It was a pad of paper that you can use to learn to do Chinese character writing. Of course, I'm never teaching myself that, so but it works perfectly in here. Just some little odds and ends, another bit of binding, and an old biplane there. Oh, she also likes these, she loves Tim Holtz, and so I just put these guys. They were kind of the only, ones that were tall enough to actually poke, whoops, well, almost tall enough to poke out of there. So maybe we'll let them just peer over the edge. So this is the other half of that envelope. So I did, you know, kind of the same here. I zigzagged this fabric or this embroidery applique off some piece of linen. Love this paper with all the numbers on it. On this side, I just added a bit of scrapbooking paper. I left this torn edge, inked it up to make it look kind of grungier. Added a mushroom, you know why. And this was cards. Wonder why I don't. Oh, this might have been those oversized index cards that I had coffee dyed at some point, and again was hoarding. Washi tape. This is really old wrapping paper, and this was the full page out of the sticker book called Forest Fairies and Fungi Stinker Sticker Anthology. This, I told you you'd see that shape again. I used a brad to just do this little flippy thing here. I like clock images. There's that gal, there's that gal. This was just some stenciling I had done around. I love the look of gears. This is just the back of an old one of those desktop calendars. I hinged this because it kind of looks grungy. Writing space with a little mushroom in the corner. Mushroom. This was a paper bag that I turned into a pocket with a little flip here. Another, whatchamacallit, tea card. And more of the bread coupons. Again, I have a gazillion of these, and I've been hoarding them. Who knows why? Okay, these, I can't remember if those were stickers or what, but anyway, I really like the look of that. Here's another little girl. The same place. She came from the same place as that dress outline. Here's another one of those grungy looking tags with the with that girl sticker on it. So I don't know how we do this so that they're both somewhat visible. More who knows what. I can't remember where this came from, if it's an old piece of tape or whatever. I just don't know. I cut one thread short or one end short and left the other long in case she wants to add her own charms or something. Fabric ruffle. Just had some of this paper, left it irregular like that. Here's some book guts that's sort of strengthening the edge of this side of the bag. This is one of the scrappy little pads that I put together with a variety of brown paper. And this is more of that eco-dyed ledger paper doohickey thingamajig. Added a little narrow lace here at the edge that I had dyed at some point. This was just, I don't know, I think there are two of them in here. You know, it was one of those punch-out things. And again, you know, you handle it, you put it, it goes from pillar to post. You don't know where to put it. You couldn't find it if you wanted to look, you know, if you needed to locate it. So I just thought, okay, glue it down. It draws the eye down to those mushrooms. This is this is just brown paper. It's got that little serrated edge, so I think it was just a paper bag that I had obviously used some mixed media, ink, and so on. Part of it has a bit of gold to it, so I added a, now did I stamp that? Or I don't remember where that fabric came from, but clearly I dyed it. and added another one of those dresses. So again, Brenda, you got to put something in there. This is a CD envelope. Oh, there's another little girl. Surprise. And in this, so just avocado dyed, some collaging here and there, and a tag inside. I like that one of the books that I got in Manitoba had this all, you know, repeatedly. Winnipeg Public Library, 1936. So wherever possible, I used scraps of that and tried to leave it readable. So that is just, you know, positioned in there so there's something visible through the pocket. This is the other half of that table. I had this kicking around and this, so I just added that. This is just a little label, just on copy paper. This is one of the bigger tags. Again, I used a B for Brenda, more mushrooms, gauze, I know, what do you call it, cheesecloth, paper towel, mushroom stickers. She had given me that page from the New York Post. This is a piece of sort of grungy looking flannelette that I had gotten in a thrift store bundle. This is just, I don't know, a piece of paper that looked kind of grungy. So I just added, again, more of that around the edge. On this page, this is one of my own digitals. It's, I have a collection of padlocks. And so I had photographed them. These are used tea bags that I had put on there. So you've got that textural element. These are from an old plant book. You can see the illustrations are kind of, you know, very simplistic from, I don't know, the 50s or whatever. I used a stamp on there. Is it here? No, that's not it. And inked around it, and luckily the description is the front and the back make sense, they match. This is a piece of canvas, and I hand stitched around, you know, there were perforations there, so I don't know if it had been, to be honest, I don't remember where I got that from. I used that same stamp here and there. It's kind of faded, to just accentuate, another excuse to bring in some red, and a hand stitched element, another clock face. This is a transparent, like a slide, and it had the red frame around it. So I used that as a tuck spot, little butterfly sticker. Belly band that looks kind of grungy. I finally have some time cards. So I did a little collaging on there mostly with washi tape, if I'm not mistaken. And I stamped that and added the green dress to match the green leaves. This is just a little, oh, I know what it is. It's covering up the fact that I pinned this fabric flip to the page. You know, otherwise, well, obviously the pin made 2 holes. And if, not that that would have been a bad look, but, you know, once you've got a hole, it's a point of weakness. So I just thought that that might help reinforce the paper a bit. Again, red, dyed, and a combination of 2. Got to use a popcorn bag. Put a few things in here. You may have seen me show you that. This is an old Zeller's button card, 45 cents. That pink is neither here nor there, but she can cover that up. Here is another tag using some vintagey elements and a fussy cut owl. What do I want to say about this? I don't know, just collaged and used a seam binding thing on top. This was an image that I had stamped on tissue paper, if I'm not mistaken. So I just used that on there because it looks a little grungy, and added the word blessings, which again sort of goes with that theme of Brenda's outlook on life. Just some random faded stamps there. Added a vintage ad, coffee dyed paper. This is a wraparound, and this is a napkin on, this was an old, well, I guess this is a photo, like a photocopy. This was a pencil sketch of some African violets that I'd done years and years ago. So coffee dyed that. Love this particular napkin, and had done a little bit of collaging on there. This is just a paper clip with a bit of seam binding. Oh, there's a little bird there. Now this is, this is the centerfold here. So I had two pieces, I guess it was just brown paper. So I did a whip stitch with some yarn. Did I glue that or not? No, I didn't even glue that. Oh my goodness, oh, I know. Okay, it's stitched at one end. I probably had to trim it height-wise. So then, rather than just glue it, I whip stitched it together. Old Scotch tape, a bit of corrugated something or other, a little bit of a cluster, and a rusty stick pin there. Inside is just some, papers. It's out of a little 4x4 pad, and I just chose these because of the colors. On the inside here are a couple of milk bottle tops. Again, long cord left. This is paper towel that had just gotten discolored by the tea bags that I put on there to dry. This is an old, not an old, but chipboard thing that I had peeled some of the layers off. So, to reduce the bulk. I left that thread hanging. Here is another tag, more mushrooms, another one of those oblong things, and a little price tag. Whoopsie. An ad. This was a plastic slide cover, and I just added a mushroom on either side. There's no like cellophane or acetate or anything covering it, and I just toned down the color by running my dirty inking brush against it. So I thought that was kind of cute. Here's another owl and a bit of a stamp there. Another owl, another old dress. More of this scrap paper. Now, there's a story about all these oddball shapes. It's not that I'm so brilliant and tore them that way. If you saw, I thrifted a thing that was a lot of beautiful papers, scrapbooking papers, but they had all been, and everything was doubled up, and I paid too much for it, I think, because I thought, oh, this is going to be a beautiful prototype that I can deconstruct and, create something new out of. However, all of those cardstock weight papers were stuck together back to back with, and they were two-sided, with, whatchamacallit, tape runner. And usually in an X formation. So I have a lot of stuff that I salvaged, and you'll see it appearing in other projects. But I used elements that I thought worked in here, either because they were vintage or kind of grungy looking. Popcorn bag, same bit of that lace that you saw elsewhere. Washi tape. This is a little fabric thing that I had crazy stitched onto a piece of cardstock. And I have a bunch of these because that fabric was really nice. A lot of woodland type elements. I don't know that I've ever used a single one, so it was high time. There was a rip there, so I just reinforced it with old Scotch tape. And here, long ago, I had stamped a bunch of these sentiments and inked them, and they were sitting around, and I thought, why don't I put them here? You know, they're things that are applicable to us and what we do: inspire, original, memories, kindness, journey, create. So that's what I did there. I had some of this fabric left, so I just created this pocket here. This is that same thing that we saw elsewhere. I guess I should probably ink that up. It's the back of that fabric. See what I mean about your work is never done? Oh, see, that already helps. Sometimes it doesn't take much. And this is just a base covered with fabric, pattern tissue paper. And I think I'd done a masterboard or something with these, and somehow it just, she can decorate them to her heart's desire. And the back is essentially just the way you saw it before. Again, some old tape there. So, of course, she can, if this isn't big and fat enough for her, she can add a pocket there and fill it. So, I did come up, I have this envelope, and it's not that you're going to see anything in here that's so startling or wonderful, but anyway, it is a coffee dyed envelope. This is a mystery item to me. It's got the praying hands on one side and a dove on the other. So again, religious icons or imagery. And it's got so I don't know if it's intended as a page thing. I did try it to stick it on or over the edge of a couple of pages, but they didn't seem thick enough, and in fact that falls off very easy. So I'm throwing it in here. So Brenda, you figure out what to do with it. Just throwing in some odds and ends of some papers that she may not have. These are those recollections photo dividers, so those look cool once they're dyed. Bunch of guest checks, don't know if she has any of those or not. Some bill book pages that were dyed. Practically see-through index cards, that a couple more CD envelopes that have been dyed. This cute little thing, another envelope, a flashcard, and some scraps of ribbon. And of course, if I see more things before I actually meet with her, those will go in as well. But yeah, I did want to show you that little thing. And if you know what it is, by all means, let me know in the comments. So, Brenda, when you get to see this, of course, I'm sure we'll do our, flipping, our oohing and awing in person, because that's half the joy of giving a gift. I have really enjoyed this process, and certainly intend to do this again with, think about who I might want to do, make the offer to. So again, really enjoyed this whole process. Hope that you love the journal. And oh, you know what? Let me do it right now. I haven't signed it. Sometimes I do it here, sometimes I do it along here. Now, in case she adds a pocket, well, Either it'll be hidden in a pocket or she'll work around it, I guess. I'll just put it here. And the ear. Okay, now I can close this up, put this aside. Again, remembering that if I find more elements, I can add them to the envelope for her to work with. I think that I satisfied her interests with the grunge, the vintage, the mushrooms, the red, and anyway, enjoy it in good health, my friend. Thanks so much for joining me. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.